morning. This is Rich Sierra. I'm the president and CEO of the Florida Small Business Legal Center. I'm your host of the Business SOS podcast. Thank you for listening today. First, I'd like you to participate in the show. If you have a legal question that you'd like me to address in the show, please reach me at rich@richsierra.com. Send me an email, send me the legal question you'd like me to address in the show. And if I select your question and I'll address it in the show, the podcast, I'll send you a free copy of my book, Business SOS, 8 Common Legal Mistakes Business Owners Make and How to Avoid Them. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you can ask for your local bookstores. I'm showing it here for those who are watching me on YouTube. Today, this one is going to be a short podcast compared to the other ones that we have done in the past. I really want to focus on this particular subject, and I don't want to mix it with anything else. And it's a very important subject. Many of us, or including myself, we took advantage of some of the benefits of the SBA during COVID. I mean, there was the PPP loans availability that many small business owners took advantage of that. And there's also the EIDL loan as well, the disaster loan that the SBA made available to small business owners. So after a number of deferments that took place, just going back and trying to fast forward this, okay, the payments began in so many of these loans. So many business owners have had the situation now that they, for whatever reason, the businesses were not doing well, and they cannot maintain these loans now, and they might be in default. They might be close to getting in default. So I want to address that today because I have some good news for you. And this just came out this was a press release that just came out January 5th of 2024. So it's very recent, just 2 weeks ago, that the SBA announced further action to help PPP and COVID EIDL borrowers. And what they introduced, and I'm going to be reading portions of the press release and telling you a little more about it today. The SBA introduced a 60-day goodwill exception period and expands the hardship accommodation plans for EIDL borrowers. What does that mean to you if you have an EIDL loan or a PPP loan that might be going in default? So basically they give you a break. They give you a breather. And let me start with the first one. For COVID EIDL and PPP borrowers with loans under $100,000, the SBA has implemented a 60-day goodwill exception period that's starting on January 1st and lasting through March 3rd, 2024. So you have a kind of a 60-day, now you have a little bit less than 60 days that they give you goodwill period during this period, what they're going to do is basically they're going to reach out to many borrowers throughout the country and show them how they can apply for forgiveness in the PPP loans if you have not done so already, but also how to make them aware of different repayment options as well, and also including the opportunity, what is called hardship repayment plans. Also, during this particular time period, the SBA is going to refrain from escalating collection activities until after the goodwill exception period. So you're not going to continue reading in the press release. This is important for you to just get it right from the source. And I'm going to be posting a link to this press release right on the show notes on the podcast, but also on the YouTube channel as well. Small business owners, small business borrowers in delinquency or default who take action and obtain good standing with the SBA will improve their long-term financial health substantially. The benefits of getting and staying current on the SBA loans include better credit scores, which make it cheaper and easier to buy a home or car in the future, eligibility for future government financial assistance like VA loans or help after natural disaster. And in some cases, avoidance of federal private collection activities, which can include withholding tax returns and wage garnishments. It is important that if you're in a situation that your SBA loan is about to be defaulted or is in default, just call the SBA. Figure out a way to perhaps have a repayment plan, an accommodation, because they're willing to talk to you. The last thing you want to do, and I'll give you the number, if I give it to you right now, they actually have a SBA dedicated forgiveness call center. I'm going to repeat this number throughout the podcast. It's 877-552-2692. Again, it's 877-552-2692. You want to call and figure out a way to make sure that loan is current. You don't want to get into a situation that you get your first notice of default, second notice of default, and all of a sudden that loan is transferred to U.S. Treasury for collections. That just basically you're escalating this problem even further. And at that point, you really need to get professional assistance, like a bankruptcy attorney or somebody who specializes in working different loans, payment plans with the SBA. Because at that point, you have U.S. Treasury trying to collect this money. So you do not want it to get escalated to that point. And here you have the opportunity of telling you, call us. So just make that call and try to work things out. So for PPP borrowers, they say the following: hundreds of thousands of PPP borrowers can avoid default and the repercussions that come along with it without repaying the loan. For those who have met the payroll requirements can simply complete the PPP forgiveness application, which takes most borrowers less than 15 minutes to apply. If you're not sure if your loan has been forgiven, you can check by logging into your portal. It's my SBA loan portal. Once you log in, you'll be able to find out what is the status of the loan, whether it has been forgiveness, whether it has been paid in full. You'll know the status. And if you're not sure what is the status of your loan, you can always call the number that I gave you before, and basically talk to our representative from the SBA. And they're open Monday through Fridays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this is a dedicated line that they have to address these issues. And again, it's 877-552-2692. Now, if you're a COVID EIDL borrower, and this particular loan is not forgiven, it's not a loan that will be forgiven, but there are options, something called an offer in compromise, which I'm going to talk to you in a few minutes about this. So for COVID EIDL borrowers, all borrowers must repay their loans. But the SBA has programs to help, including expanded hardship accommodation plans. And I'm reading right from the press release, which I'm going to post in the show notes. COVID EIDL hardship accommodation plans significantly lower monthly payments, sometimes as low as $25 per month for 6 months. And then the payments gradually increase over a multi-year period. So basically what they do is they give you like a 6-month accommodation that you pay only 10% of the payment that you would have paid for a 6-month period. However, the interest that you have continues to accrue during that time. So, and you can also renew that. If there's a situation that after the 6-month period, you're not able to say, you know what, I need another extension simply because things are just not moving in the direction that I wanted, but perhaps another extension may help me. You have the opportunity to renew that extension, and it is up to them. And I'll tell you how you can apply in a second. This one has a different phone number and also an email as well. So, for information how to apply for the COVID EIDL hardship accommodation plan, you go to the SBA website. You can also apply directly through my SBA loan portal. Once you log in you can basically click on loan summaries in the toolbar, then hardship accommodation plan in the bottom right corner, and then says, finally, learn more to enroll. It's very, very simple. It's just very simple instructions. You can do it. You also have an opportunity, if you're not really sure how to do this, you can also call their COVID-19 EIDL customer service line at 833-853-5638. Or you can, I'm going to repeat the number, is 833-853-5638. You can also send an email at COVID EIDL servicing at SBA.gov. Again, it's COVID EIDL servicing at SBA.gov. Or you can send an email, a message through the My SBA loan portal to the customer service line. This customer service line for the COVID EIDL loan is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you basically have to work. You can do it before you go to work, or you can do it after you go to work. So there's obviously 12 hours there. You can actually put in a phone call and get information and how to get that accommodation. The key here is that you're in a situation that your loan is about to be defaulted, you're past due, you need assistance. You can go ahead and make that phone call and see how they can help you. If you need a different language, for example, Spanish, you can ask a Spanish-speaking representative. I'm sure they have one that can help assist you as well. So there's really no reason why not to get this assistance for if you need it at this particular time. And I wanted to focus this particular podcast just on this without really going into any other topics, because I wanted to be concise, very simple. And if you need to refer back to it, you don't have to go to minute 45 or minute 35 to find out the phone number. So I wanted to keep everything very concise so you can always refer back to it. So how do I apply for the hardship accommodation? I went to the SBA portal and I downloaded the form. And I'm going to show it here to you. It's a one-page form for those who are watching me on YouTube. And what you have to provide, they ask you a number of questions. Again, they're very simple to answer. You can do this yourself. It doesn't require, any type of expertise. If you're running a business, you can certainly do this. Your name, your loan number, whether the business is operational, whether the business has been permanently closed, or whether it's temporarily closed and anticipated to reopen date. So, and then if the business has been closed, then you have to provide a business dissolution paperwork or the final tax return. So they want you to provide some information when you apply for this hardship accommodation. They ask you to provide a detailed description of the need for a hardship accommodation. They give you a space here. It could be 1 or 2 paragraphs. The circumstances that you're in at this time to apply. They want you to provide the listing of all the owners, including the percentage of ownership. And these are the ones that apply for the loan. If the owners have changed, then you got to provide a change of ownership application along with this as well. So you got to send also additional documents via email to COVID EIDL servicing at SBA.gov. The application for hardship accommodation, if the business has been permanently closed, provide dissolution paperwork or final tax returns, and also want the current year-to-date profit and loss statement of the business. You can print one out through QuickBooks. You can have your accountant prepare one for you, convert it to PDF. You get all the information together, and you basically send it to that email that I just gave you. It's COVID EIDL servicing at SBA.gov. It reads here, terms if approved. You're required to pay a minimum of 10% of your monthly payment amount for 6 months. You may choose to make larger payments than the minimum. Your regular payment amount will resume and be required after the 6-month period. So, again, it's one page. And from what I read, it takes about 7 to 10 business days for them to get back to you with their response. But it's a simple application. If you're in a situation that you need to apply, certainly recommend to consider that as opposed to just not making a phone call, not reaching out to them and find out they can work out. It appears based on the press release that they really want you to work something out. So the answer is always no unless you ask. So it won't cost you anything, and it's not something that you can do yourself. If you're running a business, you certainly can do this. It will not be that complex, difficult to do. So I want to talk about another subject that within this program of the EIDL loans, and it's something that, say, for example, and I have some clients in this situation that their business closed down. They took the loan, just things didn't work out. The business did not make it. The business is closed. Okay? So, and all of a sudden they have this $100,000 loan that they have to pay because they're personally guaranteed. And how are they going to handle this? Well, they're offering, and the SBA offers what is called a offer in compromise that you have to apply for. It's a little more complex to do. In this one, you probably need your accountant. You maybe need an attorney to help you. But basically, you require some documents. What is an offer in compromise? Well, you're telling the SBA, so listen, I'm not willing, I cannot pay the $100,000. I'm just giving you that as an example. But I'm willing to give you $25,000. Would you accept that offer? So will you accept that compromise? And they will consider it. And if they agree with that, they take the $25,000 and they write off the remaining $75,000. Again, the only thing you have to do is basically apply and submit paperwork. And the paperwork is paperwork that you already have, and I'll go over that with you. And it basically says here, the SBA, to consider an offer in compromise request, the below the documentation must be provided. You have 30 calendar days to submit a completed packet. I'm not sure 30 calendar days from what, because you're basically submitting the packet. You decide when you're going to do it, but what is important is that completed packets will be reviewed within 15 days of receipt by the proper SBA office. So there's a specific form you got to complete, and before you do that, you want to basically get this form, get this letter from the SBA. It's a form you download from the web. I'm showing it to you. It is available. And basically read the instructions or provide this to your CPA, to your accountant, to your attorney to help you prepare this packet. So what are the documents you got to provide? Okay. In fact, no, before I do that, let me share with you another thought here that I highlighted. If the SBA approves the request, the loan will be reclassified as compromised closed. And I put that in quote. It says, quote, compromise/closed, and there will be no further efforts by the SBA to collect the loan balance. It's very important. I'm going to repeat that. If the SBA approves the request, the loan will be reclassified as, quote, compromise/closed, and there will be no further efforts by the SBA to collect on the loan balance. Okay, that's very, very important. And it'd be something that if the business is closed, you're in a situation that, you know what, there's no way this is going to happen because the purpose of the loan was to continue with this business. Business non-existent. And this actually is not only for businesses that are closed. You might be in a situation where business is open, operational, but this is the only way you might be able to get out of this loan. So what documents that you will need? Okay, you need a signed and dated detailed letter explaining the financial hardship and reasons for the request, including the amount that is being offered. The letter must identify the source of the funds for the offer. If hardship is the reason for the request, if you are disabled or have a medical emergency, a doctor's statement is required concerning the status of your health. If you're unemployed, provide the dismissal notices from your employer and unemployment benefits letter. A completed, signed, and dated offering compromise form, SBA Form 1150. A completed, signed, and dated consent to verify information and third-party authorization form. There's a form from the SBA that you download. A completed, signed, and dated financial statement of debtor form, SBA Form 770. Copies of filed federal tax returns, all schedules for the last 2 years. If a current tax return was not filed, submit a copy of the tax extension form along with the W-2 forms. Copies of the most recent pay stubs for the last 2 months. If the borrower is a guarantor, is a recipient of the SSI benefits, Social Security benefits, provide a copy of the current SSA/SSI award letter and a copy of the most recent SSA/SSI check stubs. Copies of the most recent last 6 months statements for all banking and investment accounts. Additional verification of income from borrower and guarantor. Any other documents not listed in number 6 or above. Then for the business, you got to provide the latest federal income tax returns with all the schedules. And current tax return was not filed, submit a copy of the tax extension. Year-to-date financial statements, including a current balance sheet and profit and loss statements within the last 90 days. Current monthly debt schedule for the business. There's a form, Form 2202. If the business is dissolved, a certificate of dissolution from the Secretary of State, affidavit stating that the business ceased operations and the date of closure, the final, signed closing and federal income tax, the final signed closing federal income tax return. So, and there's some other provisions if the loan is collateralized by real estate, but that's, if you have to do that at that point, you need to talk to your CPA or your attorney to help you with this. The point is this, that there are some benefits. This is the offering compromise. The form, downloaded the form from this web. This is the actual form here. It's a one-page form. You can probably, and it has instructions in the back how to apply them. It's not that difficult to do. It's very simple, but the simple to the extent that the questions that are asked, documents you already have, you got to put it together. Remember, you're asking the government to forgive a certain amount of the loan. You got to provide information and documentation and in support of that request. You have all the documents. The letter is the key because you're trying to make a persuasive argument, and it's something that you certainly can do. But if you need your attorney who help you develop that letter, it's something you might want to consider as well, because you only have one shot at this. Might as well make it the best shot possible to get a lot of that debt written off from that particular loan. So you have, in recapping, there are a number of benefits here. Number one, if you have a PPP loan, you have the opportunity to get that forgiven and find out go to the SBA website and submit that application to get that loan forgiven for the PPP loan if you have not done so already. Number two, if you're an EIDL borrower, you have the hardship accommodation that you can apply for 6 months, and it can be renewed, I believe, for 4 additional times, but the percentage will increase from what I read. You can get paid 10% of the payment that you were making on that loan for 6 months, and it can be renewed. And it's a one-page document, and that particular document is very simple to fill out. You can do it and just provide, updated P&L statements. You send an email to them. They get back to you in 7 to 10 days with a response. You can always call their office, and I'm going to repeat the number again. For the EIDL, it's 833-853-5638, and you can send an email at COVID EIDL servicing at SBA.gov. Remember, when you send an email to them, just include your loan number. So otherwise they won't be able to find you. So that's very important that you have that information. I think that's good for today. Hope this information was helpful. If you need to reach me, send me an email at rich, R-I-C-H, at richsierra.com. You want to learn more about our legal services? Our website is floridasmallbusinesslegalcenter.com. We're in Facebook at FSB Legal. If you want to watch this podcast, we have it in video as well. We upload it every week. We're youtube.com/@RichardSierra. Remember to please follow our podcast. Give us a 5-star review. I certainly appreciate that. And also on our YouTube channel, subscribe. We provide new content every week, and I think it'll be helpful to business owners. And share this with your friends. We're on Instagram at FSB Legal. You want to contact us by phone? We're at 866-842-5202. Remember that Business SOS, 8 common legal mistakes business owners make and how to avoid them. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's also available in your local bookstores. I mentioned the rest here. Okay. Until next week, this is Rich Sierra. Remember that my goal is to help you succeed.